began to dismount from his horse. The foundations have been dug, and today the very first brick is to be laid. He stepped over toward the edge of the pit and looked down into the mud where the men were working. I would not let anybody else in this whole world perform the task, he added with a faint smile. This is my house. It is to be named after me. I therefore must be here for its beginning. Yes, of course, Catherine said, looking around once more as she felt the biting air getting even colder. But I would ask you, my darling, if we can perhaps proceed a little more quickly. Half an hour later, as Catherine remained on her horse near the edge of the pit, Richard held the first brick out in his right hand and admired it almost as if it possessed some religious quality. "And now," he said, possibly coming close to the end of his speech, "it gives me great pleasure, before the Lord, to begin the task of building this most wondrous of houses." Nearby, the workmen glanced at one another, and one or two of them raised sceptical eyebrows. "Here?" Richard asked, nodding toward the patch of dirt in front of him. The foreman nodded. "Here," Richard continued, before crouching down and setting the brick on the ground. He adjusted it a little, then a little more, and then he turned it fully around before placing it down once more. "Or there, you men tell me where best to place the first brick." "That seems like a good place, sir," the foreman replied with the patient tone of someone who was most likely going to move said brick once his employer was out of sight. "You've done a fine job. Nobody else could have possibly achieved such a feat." "I know you jest a little," Richard said, staring at the brick with a sense of wonder. "But I wish my connection to this house to be all-encompassing and complete. I believe that any man should be so closely concerned with the very fabric and foundations of his own home, especially when that home is going to come to bear his own name." "It's getting even colder," Catherine said as her horse took a couple of steps closer to the edge of the pit. "Am I imagining it, or is the temperature dropping?" "Men," Richard continued, turning to the workers as if he'd scarcely heard his wife's complaint at all, "is my work here done for this day?" "Aye, sir," the foreman told him. "What are those?" Richard asked, nodding towards some iron bars that had been left sticking up from the ground. "Are they to be part of the new house as well?" "Aye," the foreman replied. "Mr. Wyndham told us that you want only the best method of construction, Mr. Hadlow, so we're sparing no expense. Why, when this house is finished, it'll easily stand the test of time for 500 years by my reckoning, before anyone even has to so much as repair a single brick. Make no mistake, it's going to be a good solid place, and I'm sure people will talk about it for years to come." "That is music to my ears," Richard told him, and now he was unable to hide a sense of great satisfaction. What use is a man if he leaves behind nothing of value once his mortal life is done? "Richard, this horse is becoming agitated," Catherine said, and indeed the horse had begun to trot around in circles as if spooked by some unseen thing. "I think I'd like to get down now." "I shall be inspecting your progress myself," Richard told the workers. "Now, I don't mean to intimidate you. I merely want you to know that I take great pride in this project, and I hope that you will too. You're going to be part of something rather special, and I hope you'll take that very much to heart." "We should probably be getting on now, sir," the foreman explained. "We've got a lot to do if we're ever to have your house built in time." "Are you sure that these foundations are big enough?" Richard asked, turning and looking around. "I'm no expert, but I'm sure the plans that Mr. Wyndham produced made them look larger somehow. We followed his specifications, and it just doesn't quite look the right size," Richard continued, interrupting the man. "Obviously, I don't want to be the type to question your obvious expertise, but might it be worth examining the plans one more time? This really is one of the most important parts of the whole building process, and a mistake now could set everything back by months. Sir, I just don't want anything to go wrong," Richard added with a sigh. "This house has to be perfect, really perfect, and if it isn't, then I'm afraid that all this time and money will have been spent for absolutely nothing, and Mrs. Baxter certainly won't..."